Hello, my name is John Melton, and this is Hypnosis in History. Hypnosis as we know it today had its origins in the unique medical practices of Dr. Franz Anton Mesmer, a physician who lived in Vienna, Austria during the mid-18th century. Mesmer was a fervent believer in the more esoteric aspects of Western medical tradition, including the influence of astrology and magnets on human health. In 1774, during a magnetic treatment with a female patient, Mesmer felt that he perceived a fluid flowing through the woman's body whose flow was affected by his own will. He eventually named this fluid and its manipulation animal magnetism, and developed an elaborate theory regarding its effect on health. Mesmer believed that every individual had magnetic fluid flowing through channels throughout his body, and that blockages in the flow of this fluid caused emotional or physical disease. He believed that certain individuals had more or less innate animal magnetism, and therefore varied in their ability to manipulate the flow of this fluid. In the late 1770s, Mesmer moved to Paris and found more interested students there than in Vienna. The process of animal magnetism, or mesmerism, laid the foundations for the later development of hypnosis. A contemporary English doctor described Mesmer's technique in vivid detail. His patients were received with the air of mystery and studied effect. The apartment, hung with mirrors, was dimly lit. A profound silence was observed, broken only by strains of music which occasionally floated through the rooms. The patients were seated around a sort of vat which contained a heterogeneous mixture of chemical ingredients. With this and with each other, they were placed in relation by means of cords or jointed rods or by holding hands, and among them slowly and mysteriously moved Mesmer himself, affecting one by a touch, another by a look, a third by passes with his hand, a fourth by pointing with a rod. One person became hysterical, then another. One was seized with catalepsy, others with convulsions, some with palpitations of the heart, perspirations, and other bodily disturbances. The method was supposed to provoke in the sick person exactly the kind of action beneficial to his recovery. To the uninitiated, the scene was full of wonderment. The extraordinary tales of Mesmer's personal power over individuals are probably part exaggeration, part real results of his confidence and skill in the use of the means he wielded. By the mid-1780s, Mesmer's dramatic practices had drawn the amazement and scrutiny of the citizens of Paris, including the King Louis XVI himself, who commissioned a panel of renowned scientists to examine animal magnetism as fact or fiction once and for all. The results of the King's scientific panel when we return to Hypnosis in History.
What do you do when you've been at the same job for 25 years and you just can't take another day? The HMI Web TV News crew hits the streets for this special report, Spotlight on Success, the Making of a Hypnotherapist.
Hello, I'm Roseanne MacDonald, certified hypnotherapist and proud graduate of HMI. Before I became a hypnotherapist, I was a legal secretary and office manager of law firms for 25 years. Came home one night after work, looked my husband in the eyes and said, I can't do this anymore. And he said, why don't you become a therapist? You're always helping people every day anyway. In my hypnotherapy practice, I help people release weight, stress, anxiety, fears, phobias, and any other behaviors that they would like to modify. Currently, I'm seeing about 15 clients a week, sometimes 20. I built my practice primarily on networking and referrals. My hypnotherapy career has not only allowed me to help others, it's allowed me freedom to be my own boss, make my own hours, enjoy my environment. And the thing that my family loves most about me being a hypnotherapist is that I love what I do. I have a passion for helping people, and I actually look forward to coming to my office every single day. And so much so that my son, Joseph, followed in my footsteps. And one day he looked up at me and said, "Mom, do you think I could do this? You help so many people with so many problems." And I says, "Oh my God, of course." So he has joined me in my practice, and we are here in Thousand Oaks and enjoy every minute of it. You can find me, Roseanne McDonald, certified hypnotherapist, at www.hmigrads.com.
Hello, my name is Michelle Guzzi, and it's intermission here at the American Hypnosis Association Continuing Education Conference. I would like to introduce you to just some of the HMI students that are here today. And we have Dr. Simonian with me. Dr. Simonian.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Michelle.
you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you to HMI.
I've come to HMI to learn about hypnotherapy because I want to influence the subconscious mind as well as the conscious mind. And I wanted to learn the technology. I'm a former graduate of Oxford University on the advisory board of Oxford, as well as Harvard University on the advisory board of Harvard. I'm a surgeon scientist and an educator, and currently a UCLA visiting professor. And I want to help people to learn how to have integrity, how to have sanity, and how to have morality. And one of the problems is that their subconscious mind might interfere with them achieving these goals. And hopefully I'll be able to touch them by learning hypnotherapy in order to facilitate their ability to achieve their goals.
So you're here at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, and we've just started the program. Tell me a few things that you've learned so far that you're really enjoying.
Well, I'm enjoying the fact that there's a long tradition of experience of 40 years here with dedicated staff, with instruction manuals, wonderful instructors who are excellent in both verbal and practical teaching and training.
And as a world-renowned doctor, coming to the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, what is the message that you would like to give the community?
I think that hypnotherapy is a genuine, useful part of human living. And I would recommend that we believe in this methodology in order to help us create a better world, better relationships, and a more moral and right world for all of us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Simonian, and thank you so much for watching us today.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Louis XVI's panel included medical doctors from the Royal Faculty of Medicine in Paris, as well as respected scientists from other fields. These included the chemist Antoine Lavoisier, discoverer of oxygen and hydrogen, Dr. Joseph Guillotin, co-founder of the Academy of Medicine in Paris, and the inventor of the guillotine. Astronomer Jean Bailly, a senior member of the French Academy of Sciences, who studied the moons of Jupiter, and American scientist and ambassador to France, Benjamin Franklin. After months of investigation and observation, the commission determined that Mesmer had not discovered a real physical fluid, that the human body did not contain previously undiscovered channels, and that any effects of his treatments were due to solely the imagination of the subjects. His reputation ruined by the commission's findings, Mesmer returned to Vienna the following year, eventually returning to the countryside near his place of birth. living out the last 30 years of his life in near total obscurity. Though the idea of animal magnetism had been debunked within scientific circles, a number of individuals continued the practice into the 19th century, many making their own unique changes to the underlying theories and procedure, some performing it in stage mesmerism shows. Mesmerism took a turn towards something closer to modern hypnosis with one of Dr. Mesmer's followers, the Marquis de Puységur, a lower nobleman of the French aristocracy. The story of his session with a peasant named Victor is widely thought to be the first use of mesmerism to improve the mood or psychological state of a person. The story is described in detail by an English doctor of the time. He took occasion to mesmerize the daughter of his agent and another young person for the toothache, and in a few moments they declared themselves cured. This questionable success was sufficient to lead Monsieur de Puységur a few days later to try his hand on a young peasant of the name Victor, who was suffering with a severe fluxion on his chest. What was Monsieur de Puységur's surprise when at the end of a few moments, Victor went off into a kind of tranquil sleep, without crisis or convulsion, and in that sleep began to gesticulate and talk and enter into his private affairs. Then he became sad, and Monsieur de Puységur tried mentally to inspire him with cheerful thoughts. He hummed a lively tune to himself inaudibly, and immediately Victor began to sing the air. Victor remained asleep for an hour and awoke composed, with his symptoms mitigated. While reflecting upon this episode, the Marquis noted a connection between some of Victor's reactions and sleepwalking, and became the first person to refer to this reaction as artificial somnambulism, a term which has carried with us to this day. When we return, more innovations in mesmerism on Hypnosis in History.
It's intermission here at HMI, the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, and welcome. We just wanted to interview a few students that are in class right now for HMI Web TV. So let's see who we have tonight, and let's ask them a few questions, how they're doing in class and how they're feeling about their hypnotherapy. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you're doing here. What class are you in?
I'm right now in the case history. My name is Victoria. I'm a 501 student. So I love hypnosis and everything that the mind-body represents.
So what is it like for you to watch the live therapy sessions? We bring clients into the Hypnosis Institute, and we're able to do some demonstrations with hypnotherapy and really break it down. What is it like for you to sit in the class and observe that and be a part of that?
Fascinating. There's nothing like a real hands-on. I mean, you can learn about it in class. There's a lot of different types of school out there, but this is where you get first hands-on, and I love that. Yeah.
And what's your background? What were you doing before, or what are you doing now?
Very opposite. I worked behind the scenes in the entertainment business, so I represented people. So yeah, and now I'm helping them.
Oh, good.
In a different. I've opened up my practice in a different format. I'm just baby steps starting.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much
you.
for coming here. Have a great class.
thank
We'll
you.
see you in a little bit. All right, take care.
Hi, my name is Ted A. Moreno, and I graduated from HMI in March of 2004. Before I became a hypnotherapist, I did a lot of different things. Mostly worked in retail stores, but I did sell books door to door in Petersburg, Virginia, and I had a short stint as a cowboy in Montana. That was interesting. After I graduated, I started my private hypnotherapy practice here in beautiful South Pasadena. This is the lobby of my office. In my hypnotherapy practice, I really help people to deal with fears and phobias as well as many different kinds of anxieties, including driving anxiety, test anxiety, social anxiety. I also help people quit smoking. In an average week, I see about 10 to 12 clients, and I only work about 4 days a week. I built my practice primarily by just telling people, going out to mixers, chamber of commerce events, writing letters to people, hanging flyers. I just kept telling people what I was doing. The best part of being a hypnotherapist is that it's allowed me to be my own boss. That's the thing that my family likes the most about what I do. 2 days a week, I get to stay home and be a daddy for my 2 little daughters. They're 3 and 5 years old. That's one of the best things about my job, that I have time to be with my family. I control my own schedule. I'm my own boss, and I really like that. The thing that I love most about being a hypnotherapist is that I get to help people discover their greatness. A lot of people aren't in touch with their own natural skills and abilities. So when I get a card from somebody saying that I really help them discover their true potential, well, that's really fulfilling. I really like that part of the job. My name is Ted Moreno. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and you can find me at hmigrads.com.
Though Mesmer's theories about the mechanics of animal magnetism were proven to be false, many early mesmerists continued to practice and expound upon their own theories and procedures into the 19th century. One of these early practitioners was a man named Abbé Faria, who wrote a book on the subject in 1819 entitled On the Cause of Lucid Sleep. Abbé Faria was near the end of his life when he wrote this work, and the road which led him there reads like a novel, literally. He was the real-life basis of a character of the same name in the Alexandre Dumas classic, The Count of Monte Cristo. But the real-life Abbé Faria did not die in prison like in the novel, but eventually served out his prison sentence and moved to Paris, where he became fascinated with mesmerism. Born in Portuguese colony on the coast of India in 1746, he spent the majority of his life as a Catholic priest and a doctor of theology. In his 40s, he became involved in an attempted revolt in his native India and fled to France, which itself was in the throes of its own revolution. He befriended many notable revolutionaries during this time, which was suspicion enough for Napoleon Bonaparte to throw him into the infamous Chateau d'If prison for nearly 20 years. Based on his lengthy observations of mesmerism, once he was free, he wrote his influential book, which put forward the idea of mesmerism was a mental process of the subject. He called the state lucid sleep and explained it as the result of a combination of visual fixation and mental fatigue. Just a year later, another mesmerist, Etienne de Cuvier, published the first work to name the phenomenon hypnotism and call the practitioners hypnotists, based on the Greek word for sleep. The first recorded instance of using hypnosis for anesthesia in surgery was on April 12, 1829 in Paris. Dr. Jules Cloquet worked in conjunction with a local mesmerist by the name of Chaplin to perform surgery on a female patient with breast cancer. Herbert Mayo, an English surgeon, described the operation. She was prepared for the operation by Monsieur Chaplin, who on several successive days threw her into a trance by the ordinary mesmeric manipulations. She was then like an ordinary sleepwalker and would converse with indifference about the contemplated operation, the idea of which, when she was in her natural state, filled her with terror. During the whole of the operation, the patient in her trance exhibited not the slightest sign of suffering. Her expression of countenance did not change, nor was the voice, the breathing, or the pulse at all affected. When asked by Dr. Mayo why he did not begin utilizing this state for all his operations, the French doctor replied that he had not dared, that the prejudice against mesmerism was so strong at Paris that he probably would have lost his reputation and his income by doing so. The public distrust of mesmerism led to many such instances of hypnotists keeping their results quiet, without publication, which in turn contributed to the air of mystery surrounding the subject. Hypnosis finds a new ally in James Braid in a moment.
Hello, my name is Felice Austin, and I graduated HMI in January 2011. After graduation, I opened my private practice in both Tarzana and Culver City. The reason I decided to become a hypnotherapist is because after I had my baby, I wanted more flexibility and free time to spend with my daughter. In an average week, I see about 10 to 15 clients working an average of 3 days a week. My hypnotherapy career has not only allowed me to help others, which I truly love, but it's also given me the flexibility and free time to spend with my daughter. And as a single mother, it's important to me to spend as much time as I can with her. In my hypnotherapy practice, I specialize in helping women transition to motherhood, meaning everything from conscious conception to joyous labor and childbirth and parenting skills. I also am passionate about helping artists, writers, and creative people of all types have more confidence, motivation, and bliss. I built my practice primarily by networking, public speaking, and through some complementary services such as I teach pregnancy yoga. My HMI mentor was John Melton, and he really helped me to grow as a person and as a hypnotherapist. The thing my daughter loves most about my new career as a hypnotherapist is that I'm home more and that I hypnotize her to sleep every night. My name is Felice Austin. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and you can find me at hmigrads.com.
Hello, my name is Michelle Gezi, and I want to take a moment to tell you about the world's largest resource for continuing education in hypnotherapy. It's the American Hypnosis Association's online video library. Did you know that the AHA has over 200 one-hour continuing education classes in their online library, all free for members? But that's not all. Now the AHA has added additional online libraries, once again, all free to AHA members. We have the Hypnotherapy Live library, which features more than 100 hypnotherapy sessions with real clients recorded live in the HMI classroom. There's also the Clinical Supervision Library, which features hundreds of hours of recorded classes where HMI clinical supervisors answer questions and provide guidance to the HMI interns on their clinical work with clients. And then we have the HMI Web TV Library. That's right. All the shows that you see here on HMI Web TV are also available to watch on demand anytime, day or night. In addition to the hundreds of hours of free education available to the AHA members, don't forget our pay-per-view certification courses in stop smoking, weight loss, pain control, past life regression, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join us today and become a proud member of the American Hypnosis Association, regardless of where you are in the world. In fact, I'll tell you what, join the AHA today for just $149, and we will give you your choice of a $98 AHA online pay-per-view course for free. For more information on becoming a member of the AHA, just go to hypnosis.edu/AHA. You'll be glad you did. Now back to HMI Web TV, hypnotherapy television 24/7.
Once the early mesmerists began proposing new theories and finding new applications for mesmerism, the practice began to gain more legitimacy among doctors and scientists moving into the mid-19th century. In 1841, a Scottish medical doctor, James Braid, went on to become one of the most important figures in the history of hypnosis after he observed his first mesmerist show at the age of 46. Born in rural Scotland, James Braid went on to study medicine at the University of Edinburgh and became a respected general surgeon in Manchester, England. Though he may have heard of mesmerism during his training or career, the first time he actually observed it was at a traveling show performed by a Swiss mesmerist, and the practice greatly intrigued him. After the show, he obtained permission to closely observe the man's subjects, and after months of intense observation, Dr. Braid had developed the core of his theory regarding the practice. Disliking the connotations of the term mesmerism, he adopted de Cuvier's term hypnotism and hypnotist, becoming the first to use these words in English. He explained in his first book that, "I have now entirely separated hypnotism from animal magnetism. I consider it to be merely a simple, speedy, and certain mode of throwing the nervous system into a new condition, which may be rendered eminently available in the cure of certain disorders. I trust, therefore, it may be investigated quite independently of any bias, either for or against the subject, as connected with mesmerism, and only by the facts which can be adduced. I feel quite confident we may have acquired, in this process, a valuable addition to our curative means, but I repudiate the idea of holding it up as our universal remedy, nor do I even pretend to understand as yet the whole range of diseases in which it may be useful." Dr. Braid's writings and experiments with hypnotism quickly made him the leading figure in hypnosis in the English-speaking world. His scientific approach and willingness to engage in debate gave hypnosis a new, respectable face compared to the mystery and controversy surrounding mesmerism. He clearly summarized his basic eye fascination induction in an 1843 book. "Take any bright object. I generally use my lancet case, between the thumb and the fore and middle fingers of the left hand. Hold it from about 8 to 15 inches from the eyes at such position above the forehead as may be necessary to produce the greatest possible strain upon the eyes and the eyelids, and enable the patient to maintain a steady fixed stare at the object. The pupils will be at first contracted. They will shortly begin to dilate, and after they have done so to a considerable extent, and have assumed a wavy motion, if the fore and middle fingers of the right hand are carried from the object towards the eyes, most probably the eyelids will close involuntarily with a vibratory motion." The renewed scientific interest in hypnosis prompted by James Braid not only led to new ways of thinking and talking about the practice, but to new studies and applications as well. More next time on Hypnosis in History.